Davies in the middle. Checks back against Carter and scores. That is atypical for the Meado.
Quickly gets it back again. Oh, what a goal! Well, that sums up her season. The Gunners are WSL champions.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Vic Akers Wonderland. Are joined as always by Adam. How are you?
I'm well, thank you very much. It's been a good weekend for the Arsenal women. Less said about the rest, the better. So looking forward to tucking into that aspect.
And we have a returning guest. I think this makes you the most returning guest so far this season with three. So welcome back, Shahan. How are you?
Yeah, good evening, Matt. Good evening, Adam. Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks. Thanks for asking. And yeah, I'm looking forward to discussing my experience of being a first-time visitor to Meadow Park as an away supporter, of course. And yeah, give my details.
So I thought I'd open because we've all been on away days and things like that. I was just thinking about what's your favourite stadium that you've been to and as a away fan?
Oh, what do you mean in the WSL?
It can be in the WSL, it could be in the international, or it could be for just in general one that you really loved. It doesn't have to be a men's game, or it can be a men's game. It's up to you. I thought I'd broaden it as well because
that's fair enough.
I was thinking about this. I know I've got a few biases, but I really do enjoy going to Villa Park. Villa Park's always been a really nice ground for me to go to, and I've really enjoyed it. And just to flip it, if there was a worse stadium that I have to go to, and that's again the bit of bias, that'll be Tottenham. But that was because it's
hang on,
because of the area. No, it's not
no.
because of the game. It's just because of the area that it is.
No, you're wrong, Matt. You're wrong. We all know the real away stage.
Oh yeah, Leigh Sports Village. Yeah, but
let's
for complicated reasons, let's just leave that aside. Just but who's your best?
I'll come and swing on this one because I've only very recently got on board the whole away journey sort of trend. So I've got a lot of emotions with a lot of stadiums. I did enjoy Southampton away. I really enjoyed that one, and that was this season. That was a really good one. Worst ones probably the Spurs away game when we drew 1-1. That was just the pitch was awful. That wasn't a good one. I look at Europe. I have a lot of fond memories of in the rain in Amsterdam. That even though the conditions were awful, but that just sort of made it even better, which is kind of weird with the rain and lightning, and we're in a metal cage, and we get the 1-0 win, get us through into the group stage of the Champions League. A lot of fun had on those stadiums. But it's not just the stadiums; it's the atmosphere as well. The away trip party and meeting yourself, Matt, in Germany, and doing that, and in the beer halls in Munich. Obviously, our men's team are up there now. We're wishing them all the best for Wednesday night. But yeah, the not just going to the football match and watching the game in the stadium, but the party beforehand and the that adds to it as well. So yeah, definitely the Munich game, which we sadly lost. But the preamble and the drinking beforehand and socialising, that will stick with me for a while.
Shahan, do you have any favourites?
Yeah, I was just waiting. I was using the time to think of a particular. I mean, it's funny you mentioned Villa Park, Matt, because I've only been there once, and it was when both Bristol City and Aston Villa men's teams were in the same league in the Championship a few years ago. I think it was New Year's Day. It was a 5:30 kickoff, and I was out the night before because it was New Year's Eve, and yeah, we lost 5-0. Which is obviously going to be a theme for tonight's episode, but yeah, I think one particular favourite away game I've been to was Craven College, home of Fulham, and that was in 2016. Obviously, I know it's been redeveloped quite a bit since then, and apparently tickets are like really expensive now for like supporters. But yeah, Bristol City, Fulham away has always been a really good away day for a lot of Bristol City supporters. And yeah, when I went, we won 4-0, and yeah, it was just a fantastic day and relatively near, so the away travel wasn't too long, and yeah, there was a lot of away support, and then people jumping up and down. You could actually feel like the stand bouncing as well. None of us because it was like so old and stuff, but yeah, Craven Cottage and Fulham, that's probably one particular away ground I loved going to.
That's not one I've been to before, so that's one to add to the list.
Yeah, I think this is one thing that I've always loved, those that you can always go to a ground that you've never been to. Let's take the Conti Cup final, never been to Selhurst before. Our season cup final goes to Selhurst Park. Next season it goes to Molineux, so you go up to Wolverhampton for those. So I really do enjoy that women's football. You sort of ground hop to different places that you haven't been before, and I just thought it'd be a quite nice one because the theme of being an away fan. You do get up at what time did you get up and get going in the morning? Did you say it was a 9 o'clock coach in the morning?
Well, for that Sunday.
Yes.
So because there was a 6:45 p.m. kickoff, the coach had to be rearranged. Had to be rearranged anyway because of the change of date. But yeah, the coach left Ashton Gate about 1 p.m. and stopped off of Reading Services about 2:30. I think Reading Services is usually the common stop for coaches to go, support football coaches to stop between Bristol and London, or that direction anyway. Yeah, and then got to just outside Meadow Park just after like 4 o'clock.
Okay.
And the advice that people gave me about getting it early, yeah, we got it early. And I think there was already like 10 people already queuing outside the south turnstile entrance.
It was bad for the rest of us because those of us who was on the home side, they'd closed one of the walkways, which we weren't aware about. So we had to walk around it's like an outside football sort of courts area, and we got diverted around. So it was a bit more carnage for us. But I mean, we'll get on to the game in a minute. 3,500 fans turned up. You know, it was a very strong attendance on the day, on the evening, shall we say, and Bristol City fans more than played their part in the South Stand. That's for sure, as we saw on the TV picture.
I do love watching those home games now, and just you can hear the atmosphere, and even at even at the smaller atmospheres and Wharton Hall Park and things like that, it makes it come up. The volume of the audience and the fans, it just comes across really well. But there are things that you kind of wonder, what are they chanting? I've not had that one before, because I did hear a suspicious chant about Kimmy Little, but it wasn't about Kim Little. It was about Emma Hayes, apparently.
Yes. So do you want to move on to this? We'll just discuss this.
Yeah. Let's just discuss that one.
So this became a big thing. So in the preamble to the game, there's a pub called the Good Companion. We were all mates beforehand, and we were watching. It wasn't on the screens on the TV, but it was on the people had it on their phones. They're watching the Man United Chelsea FA Cup game, which was happening. And spoiler alert. Chelsea lost. Mark Skinner's first win. I think it's his first win over Chelsea, or his first sort of big win, I think, against Chelsea. Certainly as a Man United manager. Very funny. Chelsea in the mud. Chelsea out the FA Cup, and obviously we've just beaten them in the Continental Cup as well. So there were a lot of anti-Emma Hayes, a lot of chants at Emma Hayes' expense, in order that the quadruple's gone. So there was a lot of stick your quadruple or stick your flipping treble, etc. Chants going, and there was this. I put it out on Twitter. The lyrics are on Twitter. I can only describe as a work of art. I mean, Emma Hayes can quote poetry till the cows come home, but this will top it. It was something like, Emma Hayes, are you listening? Your quadruple's gone missing. The Conti Cup, you expletive it up. Walking in Estina Wonderland, and that got going, I think, in the first half. And we'll get on to how the game went. It was very much a sort of a party mood as the game flowed, and there was a lot of good chants and quite a few Emma Hayes. And that, I think, became a very popular one in the North Bank, and which quickly spread. And we should shout out to the Continental Tire. I don't know if people saw it, but that was bouncing around the North Bank for quite some time. Sadly, it did get a puncture and was deflated, but it was a good atmosphere and a lot of good fun chants as well. Some new ones as we heard.
Just on the other end, to bring Shahan into this, it feels like Bristol do have like their own atmosphere and
Yeah, well,
their own
Adam said,
and their own chants, and it does feel very close together, close knit at the moment. Is there any chance or anything that you quite like to do and enjoy that keep coming back?
Yeah, so I was just going back to something Adam said earlier about
go on.
the tyre. I did briefly saw that at the ground, but because I was in the south stand, the North Bank was obviously opposite me, and I couldn't make it out at the time, but I did find footage of the game back because I think someone's uploaded the Sky Sports coverage onto YouTube at time of recording anyway. So that's how I ended up seeing the tyre, and also myself. On the camera, but so what was the question again? Matt, you said something about chant. What Arsenal chants or Bristol City chants? Yeah,
just Bristol City chants in general, because I imagine the fans are very close together, that they get together. So I'll use Everton as an example. Everton have quite close supporters club, and they will all work together. They've got a songbook, and they'll sing those chants at Walton Hall Park and every away game that they go to. I imagine that's the same feel that you get with Bristol City.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. So we do. Our supporters, or some of our supporters, did come up with a supporter songbook. I forgot my copy, but to be honest, I came up with some of the songs. I'm pretty sure I remember most of them anyway. Me and a few other the away fans that were around in the South Stand, we sung some of those songs, and we also sung some generic Bristol City songs, and also we added our own spin on some chants that we heard from the North Bank, because I think the song's called Tequila.
Sabrina.
Sabrina. So we don't have our chant for Bristol City women, but we do have our chant for a men's player called Ephraim Yeboah, who's now on loan at Bath City. He's a young up and coming player, but every time we heard that chant, me and some other fans, we were Yeboah,
I see.
Yeah.
So you're hijacking our chants now. I see it. Yeah. This is how it's going.
Although, speaking of chants, I don't know if people in the North Bank noticed that there were Bristol City fans elsewhere in the stadium, because I think one chant I kept hearing was "Arsenal are massive everywhere we go."
Yeah.
Which is fine, but a part of me was wondering I was thinking that probably would have made more sense as an away game.
Well, now what it is, it's a chant because it's. I think it's a West Ham chant, but also Jonas made a comment when on the World Cup coverage in Australia about, because there were Arsenal fans in the pub when the BBC were doing the recording. I think he might have had a Sweden top on or something, and they were all chanting Arsenal fans. And of course, Alex Scott's hosting, and he's, there's lots of Arsenal fans at Jonas. And they said, yes, they're everywhere. We're massive. And so it's kind of become a bit of a running joke. So, because it used to be the Tottenham get battered chant, and they used to sing that all the time. But of course, which makes no sense, because obviously Spurs weren't playing a better part that time. So it's just become one of the many generic chants we sort of sing now all the time. Just and especially so when we got 3,500 at Meadow Park, or if we've got 50,000, 60,000 at Emirates Stadium. It's just become one of the staples now in the North Bank.
That's fine. I mean, to be honest, I've heard that chant before, but with different words. So Bristol City men's fans usually sing "Cardiff get battered everywhere they go," because Cardiff City are Bristol City's nearest rivals. But I think towards the end of the first half, me and some friends, we did hear from the North Bank the Arsenal massive chant briefly go to "Bristol get battered everywhere where they go," sometimes I do hear in the men's game, on if we're losing heavily, but that hasn't happened recently. But yeah, I think that was the only Bristol City related chant I did hear from Arsenal supporters.
mean, we can be a bit vicious at times. I mean, the funniest one was when we just won the Conti Cup final. Fans were leaving the stadium, and it was a tight 1-0 win over Chelsea, and yet the fans had the temerity still to sing Chelsea get battered. We just thought that's taking the mix slightly. Fair ski. Well, we'll get onto the game a bit, but given how the scoreline panned out, I mean, it's hard to look at the game at any other way but a sadly battering for Bristol City in the end. You know, they weren't being untruthful.
No, that's fine. I mean, I've got to say with the game, you know, I agree with Lauren Smith's post-match comments that she made on Sky and also on the club's social media channels. Like, Arsenal were just the better team on the night and outplayed Bristol City in everything that they did. I mean, I've got my analysis, my own views and opinions on the particular goals that were scored. I'm happy to go into that now, unless Matt.
Matt is steering us tonight.
I'll just quickly go through the news. So, Katie McCabe is now has her 36th assist in the WSL. That moves her ahead of Karen Carney, who originally held the record, but that's now held by Beth Mead, who has 45. Steph Catley has now appeared 100 times for Arsenal, so she got a little bit of an award ceremony just before the game. And I was going to ask quickly about the FA Cup, about whether or not you both watched it in the end.
So I watched the Spurs Leicester game. I saw the main 90 minutes, and then I had to travel up to the game. So I was listening to the extra time, and I haven't seen the goals back yet, but the winner back yet. But I heard Spurs won it, and then the funny thing was I wasn't following the Manchester United game until I parked up my car, and you, Matt, messaged me and says, "Oh, by the way, Chelsea are spiraling here. They're in the mud. They're 2-0 down." And I was having to just sort of do a double take. Are you sure, Matt? Are you sure? You mean Chelsea are winning 2-0? No. They are losing 2-0. And I get my phone out. I say, blimey, I've got to rewind this. Massive shot, but yeah, fair play. Garcia and Williams chipping in with the goals. I don't think any of us saw that coming. I don't know about you, Shahan. If you thought Mark Skinner might pull one out the hat.
I didn't see either game, but I know friends of mine were trying to watch the Leicester Spurs game on their phone on the Coach Jenny app.
Yeah.
And I think people were trying to watch other people I saw were trying to, in the queue, waiting for the 10 stars to open, were trying to watch the Man U Chelsea game on their phones. But yeah, obviously there's now going to be a new winner of the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think the big news is like Grace Clinton can't play in that game because she's on loan from Man United.
I know.
There's an interesting stat on Grace Clinton, just quickly. She's not able to play, as you mentioned, Shahan. This is the third time she's not been able to play in an FA Cup final. 2020 she missed, 2023 she also missed, and now the 2024 final she's going to miss.
Interestingly, the two teams, Manchester United and Spurs, both got promoted to a WSL at the same time. It came up in 2019. So both teams have come up, made going WSL, established themselves, and now they're facing off each other for their first ever major trophy. It's just curious. And they've had mixed fortunes, obviously, in the WSL. Man United have sort of skyrocketed up to the sort of the upper tier and sort of been loitering around sort of fourth, got second last season. Spurs have sort of dipped down and come back. They've almost mirrored each other. But now one of those two are going to win the FA Cup. Very, very interesting FA Cup final to come.
I did see from last year's FA Cup final, I do remember Grace Clinton was with the Man United squad, but I'm guessing she couldn't play because she was cup tied, because even though she was on loan at Bristol City last season, the championship season ends a few weeks before the WSL season does.
Yeah.
So, and I think she returned to Man U soon after her loan ended. But yeah, I'm guessing she was cup tied, so probably couldn't have been picked anyway.
She'll get a Wembley appearance one day. She'll get an FA Cup final. I'm absolutely positive of that.
I'm pretty sure she's got a Wembley appearance already with England. So
with England, but as in
club,
domestic.
Right, okay.
Yeah, domestic.
I didn't. The only other thing I've really heard of about from the FA Cup semi-finals was, again, I haven't seen this myself fully, but apparently it's like a thing between Lauren James and Millie Turner.
Yeah.
Like, media post. I don't know what the context is, but yeah.
So me and Matt were discussing this off air. It sounds like it's the traditional sort of, you've just got a goal and you want to rush back to the halfway line for the kickoff to try and get another one. I mean, it's just put in the first half. It's a traditional, somebody's holding onto the ball, so there's a bit of a scuffle. as far as I know, again, I've had a chance to catch up because I've had other things on. But what I gather, that's all it is. That's all it was. But it's been blown out of proportion by other people who have tried to spin it into something else. And it's the traditional sort of social media pile-on. This is sadly how things are in society, not wanting to get, go down the whole political society, whatnot. But it's sadly what happens, isn't it? And especially when it comes to players as high profile as like Lauren James and so forth, it's very sad. It's very sad it's happened, and it's put a taint on what was otherwise a very good game of football. But yeah, that's how these things go.
I mean, one thing I was tempted to ask yourselves as Arsenal supporters is there much jealousy in your fan base that the other team from North London is in the FA Cup final instead of yourselves? It's
an interesting dynamic. So it's an interesting conflict, because we were discussing this in the pub. Because I've always been confident that Manchester United will win a trophy at some point. There is too much talent in that team for them not to, even if it's just like the Continental Cup or wherever. So there's elements of, there's the whole thing. You don't want Spurs, not just because they are Spurs and Arsenal, the rivalry. You don't want to see Spurs win a trophy. But there's all element of, with Manchester United, is that it's going to be their first trophy. And there's a bit of ill feeling towards Arsenal and Manchester United fans, which I think just stems from the fact that the way the men's team rivalry, has sort of maybe starting to carry over into the women's side. So it is a bit of a cup final, sort of choose your poison. Who do you least want to not win sort of situation? And I think ultimately the way I've sort of rationalised it is, if Manchester United win the FA Cup, Mark Skinner will get a contract extension. And that can only be good news for the rest of the WSL. So I have to think of sort of the greater good mentality, and hope that they pull through. I would say though, if Manchester United don't win the FA Cup this season and Spurs do, that's going to be, whilst painful for us, then Spurs win the FA Cup, it will be very funny at Man United's expense, because I think this is the best opportunity they will get or have ever had so far in their fledgling sort of women's football history. This is the best opportunity for them to get the first major trophy, and they need a major trophy to justify all the stuff they've been building up until now. So I would say there's probably more pressure on them for this cup final than there was last season against Chelsea. I think this.
I mean, I think the one thing I've just realised is, if Spurs win the FA Cup final, does this mean no? I mean, I assume it'll be their first ever trophy in general.
Yeah, their first one since coming up. Yeah,
but Spurs women will win a major trophy before Spurs men do.
Spurs men won the 2008 League Cup final. So
they won the FA Cup. Yeah,
so it'll be 1-1. It'll be 1-1 on the Wembley Trophy count, the new Wembley Trophy count, shall we say?
Yeah.
If we're going down that route of pettiness, which I'm all for, but yes, it will be. Again, I think the Spurs team, I've always said the Spurs women's team, at some point they would beat us in the North London derby, because the laws of mathematics mean that that's not going to go on forever. At some point, I'm convinced they will win a trophy. The Spurs women's team will do at some point. Don't know what it could be. It could be this season. It could be in 20 years' time. Maybe this is their moment. We'll see. The good thing is, at least we've got the Conti Cup in our back pocket, so it's not like we've been one up here.
I did a little bit of digging as well, and it did take a while. This is going to be the first time an FA Cup hasn't had Arsenal, City, or Chelsea in it since the 2004-2005 season, when Charlton Athletic took on Everton and Eni Aluko scored.
Yeah, Charlton won 1-0.
And that was at Upton Park. So it's also the first time a new name's going to be on it since Man City got their first win against Birmingham City in 2017. What probably damages it a little bit is you only get 12,000 tickets for each side, and the general sale has completely been sold now. So just imagine for the second that Bristol City and Arsenal, say this was going to be the FA Cup final, and both teams get 12,000 sales. Do you think that's a fair figure?
I don't know what a fair figure would be, but that feels criminally low, especially if this is going to be a competition at Wembley that we want to sell out. I mean, it's got 80,000 capacity. You want to have both ends filled with the travelling support for their respective teams. So it does feel like a bit short on numbers. Should say though, you mentioned about the Manchester City thing. It was their first trophy was a 4-1 win against Birmingham City.
Yeah,
and that's the first time they won. Was it the first trophy or the first FA Cup?
their first FA Cup.
Yeah, so they battered Birmingham City 4-1. But who was managing Birmingham City that day?
That was
Mark Skinner. And now he's back at Wembley again. So maybe it will be. I think this must be his third crack at an FA Cup final. So maybe this will be third time lucky for him.
So I think we should get on with the game, shall we? Because I can imagine Lottie in our ears going, "Get on with it, get on with it."
Can I say one more thing about
Yeah,
getting
go
to
ahead.
Meado Park before we get into the game? So, as I said, me and the people in our coach, we joined the queue that was already there in the South Turnstiles. I asked my friend to save a spot for me, and I had to walk around trying to have a look around the ground, but all I saw was just like it was like playgrounds or like kids or like courts or kids playing sports and stuff. I don't think I tried walking around to like the East Stand, but there was like it was all cordoned off, so I just went back to the queue and I was going to have like a look around in case Meado Park didn't have like any statues or anything to look at.
No, they don't. But what people do look out for is on the other side, the East End entrance. That's where the players come in. So you often get people who look out and try and give the coaches a wave when the players come in. But no, we don't have. It's not like the Emirates Stadium where you have like an honorary statue, the World Cup statue, and what should be a Vic Akers statue. The petition for the Vic Akers statue starts now. It needs to be. I don't think there is a Vic Akers statue, is there?
No, it's Arsene Wenger and
Arsene Wenger.
I'm trying to Herbert Chapman.
There we go, Herbert Chapman. So. There's no statues at Meadow Park because it is Boreham Wood's ground. So if there were to be a statue, it would be for Boreham Wood team.
You mentioned about players coming in. I did see the Bristol City team bus come into the car park by the South Stand, and then the players and staff get off and walk through.
Yeah, they would turn right.
Yeah,
because they'll go around that way instead. It's a nice little ground where we play. But as all things, as one grows up, it is coming close to the time where one must fly the nest. Sadly, and it'll be a shame to say bye bye to Meadow Park when that time comes. It served us well through many years.
Yeah, I mean, part of the reason I wanted to go was, again, I don't know when my next opportunity will be as an away supporter to go to Meadow Park.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I can now say that I've been. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to see Gunnersaurus, so I'm guessing he didn't come over to the.
No, I think he was probably being used. I think he had an early appointment in the day. I think at a different football stadium.
Yeah,
but he just
his cousin or twin brother. So
no, he just pop him in every now and then. So but you'll obviously be going as a neutral if you ever come again. Probably as a Bristol City fan.
6 minutes in, a crossfield ball from Powell attempting to keep the ball in. I've not put down the player who was trying to keep the ball in play, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was the right back.
Yes, came forward, then chases it down, wins it from Amy Rogers. Ford continues running into the box, attempts a shot. It hits the post and deflects into the path of Beth Mead, who taps it in for 1-0.
Yeah, it's a very, very good start for Arsenal. I mean, I was discussing this with friends at the game, is if you go in a low block, you have to score early. You can't let the team sort of build up momentum and build the confidence, and not when you bring the men's team into it, but we saw what happened. We had seen what happened earlier in the day with the Aston Villa game. Arsenal men were good in the first half, didn't take their chances, and then they grew confidence, and right at the end of the game, they won it. Sadly, so this is why we know Bristol are going to sit deep. They went 4-5-1. So I think it was Lisa Evans as the lone striker, and then everybody else sort of behind the ball, trying to hold out. And crucially, Arsenal, we've struggled with low blocks this season, but it looks like maybe the tide is turning, and this team is starting to work it out. Work the ball quickly to the flanks, and not div on the ball, but release the ball quicker. And I thought Ford did that really good high press, get the turnover, get to the byline. I don't think it was the right decision to shoot from that acute angle, but we get a bit lucky with the post and deflection. And Beth Mead has made the run to the box. She's in the right place at the right time and tucks it home. And thinking, oh crikey, seventh minute, we're already 1-0 up. No offence, Shahan, but previous Bristol City matches were coming to mind. But no, it was a positive start, and I was thinking, right, there's the opportunity. Our goal difference isn't great. Need to keep this momentum going.
Shahan, was it a case of that Bristol were their own undoing in that case, with trying to play a long ball, over hitting it, because maybe not used to such a smaller pitch? I think Meadow Park is perhaps one of the smallest grounds, bar Wharton Hall Park, in the WSL. Was that just one of those things that not getting used to that sort of side of the pitch in the first couple of minutes, trying to?
I'm not sure if the size of the pitch makes any difference because, we've been to a lot of grounds already, or that of similar size, like the Esports Village, for example, and Wharton Hall Park already this season. But yeah, you mentioned Adam was saying about Evans being up front, and I'm just looking again at the squad. I completely forgot that Evans was more further forward than she has been. And I know Abby Harrison, who's been a prolific striker for us for the last few years. I know she's had some injury issues, so she wasn't in the squad at all on Sunday. But yeah, see, again, I said earlier I had some views on like some particular goals, and yeah, I know a goal is a goal at the end of the day, but yeah, just seeing Bethmead, tap in a goal, I thought, it's just a simple tap in compared to later goals in that game, which I thought visually were more fantastic and were more worldies, if you will.
Yeah. It was a scruffier one, wasn't it? In fact,
yeah,
both
it was,
they were both Mead goals. I mean, we're jumping a bit. Both Mead goals were more to do with quick reactions to the loose ball in the box, and quicker reactions than, let's say, the Bristol defence, who I think weren't able to react in time. I think the ball comes off the post. You've got to be on your feet, ready for whatever happens. Mead was just more alert, more aware of, and took advantage of it. I would say of Lisa Evans, I didn't realise Lisa Evans was playing until she was subbed off. And I don't miss the bad because I felt really bad, because for Arsenal fans, for those of us who have maybe followed the journey a bit longer than maybe some of the more recent supporters, Lisa Evans was obviously used to play for Arsenal. She's a winger, but she became a right back to sort of fitting in for when Alex Scott retired, and helped win us the Super League in 2018-19. She was a key part of that team, and I should say she even scored a hat-trick against Spurs in the FA Cup. I mean, what more do you want to do to endear yourself to Arsenal fans? And just sadly, I think she had some injury problems, and she went on loan to West Ham and then eventually moved away permanently. The passage of time, everyone has a journey at a club, and her journey sadly came to an end. And I did feel it was a bit sad seeing her at Bristol City. I wanted her to do really well at Bristol City, and sort of see her subbed off and not even have an impact on the game. She seemed very far from the Lisa Evans we sort of remembered when she was at Arsenal. And yeah, oh crikey, yeah. I mean, Arsenal did well to keep her quiet. We know, Arsenal fans will know she's a talent. But yeah, it was a bit sad we didn't even see anything of her in the game.
I mean, I couldn't really tell if the home fans gave, or a lot of the home fans gave Lisa Evans like a round of applause, as a former.
I don't think they did. And I don't know if it's maybe because they didn't really acknowledge or it didn't clock with them. There are plenty of Arsenal fans who know who Lisa Evans is, but there is also a growing fan base. There's quite a lot of new blood coming in, especially post Euros, who maybe will only know the Arsenal from, say, 2021, 22 onwards. The name Lisa Evans maybe won't ring true with a lot of them. And again, because she was practically invisible in the game, it maybe didn't clock on. The only time they realised she was there was when she left the pitch, at which point it was too late. I think it's a shame, because I would have loved to, if it all been aware of it, I would have gladly given her a round of applause and a thank you on her return to Meadow Park. Sadly, yeah, it wasn't the case.
It is an odd one, because you do look. I've seen Lisa Evans a couple of times. I remember her playing West Ham against Everton, and again, she didn't really do anything on that day, from what I remember. And I was thinking, oh, Lisa Evans coming on, she's going to do something, and she didn't. And maybe it's just one of those things where she's getting a little bit older now, so she has to figure out where she needs to play in positions. She's going to be she's a very experienced player. It's just a case of where you're going to play her in the future.
I mean, the first time I saw her this season was when she was at West Ham, and Bristol City got the only win of the season at West Ham, and that was like back in November. And then the next time I saw her again was in the return fixture in the end of January.
Yeah.
With a couple of minutes later, Plover hits the bar, but then on 31st minute, Kim Little and Alessia Russo play a 1-2 to each other before Alessia finds Victoria Plover in space on the left, playing a short ball to Caitlin Ford. A low pass / cross finds Beth Mead for her first shot is blocked, but smashes it in low into the bottom corner, 2-0.
Yeah, it was complete control. We just complete domination, territory possession, and it was just about patience, making sure that we didn't, we took advantage while while we were running hot, shall we say. Plover at the bar, gutted about that one. I really wanted her to score because she's been so good for us this season, and it would have been well, for two reasons. One, it would have been a very special goal and she would have deserved it, but also because I and many other fans were screaming shoot at the top of our lungs, and then she did shoot. And I thought, would it be great if she'd scored? We could all claim a bit of sort of we helped, claim a bit of credit for that one. The goal itself, again, it's to do with the awareness, isn't it? It's a good find, towards me. Me takes a shot, great block on the line, should be said, stop a certain goal, but unfortunately it just lands back at Beth Mead's feet, and this time she can just tuck it into the other corner, tuck away in the other corner instead, and that's 2-0. At that point, you're looking at the clock, and you're looking at how many could this be, because it looked like we were really starting to click, and it hasn't happened. I did mention this post-match, again jumping ahead slightly, but again, low block's been a problem, but this looked like we were clicking, but also understood the nature of the opposition. It's like looking at, I don't want to make this comparison because this can sound quite disparaging, but looking at when we played Watford in the FA Cup, well, great, we've scored 5 goals against Watford, this is fantastic. And they go, yes, but we were playing Watford. So yeah, it was good to see, but it wasn't sort of like, remember who we're playing here. This is likely only going to go one way.
I don't know if any of you had seen this personally for myself, but I remember doing the post after the game. I only just noticed the pun of Meado Park as opposed to Meadow Park.
Oh, we made
Meadow has Meado in there. I only literally realised that on Sunday. Have other supporters noticed that?
It's been noted. I think I did a similar joke. I did a Photoshop on the way. I think it was maybe last season or something, but I saw that and it did make me chuckle. And there was a thing. We were sponsored by some betting company, I think, so we changed it to like the Bet Stadium rather than the Bet Stadium as well. So it was a double whammy. But yes, we have. It has been noted, and it definitely in that first half it was certainly Meado Park. She was absolutely running the show from a goal scoring perspective.
And were those her first Arsenal goals in quite a few games, I believe?
Yeah,
she was the last time she scored, and oddly enough, that was Meadow Park as well.
And oddly enough, that was the last time I went to a football match at Meadow Park. So clearly, if I go to Meadow Park more, Beth Mead scores more goals. It's the only correlation we can draw from this. So she's not scored in any other competition at all. It was the Everton game. Was it really that far back? Wow.
I think it's 10 games, so 10 games is that goes back to the Everton game.
Okay. Clearly, either I'm a lucky charm, although she's been saving the goals for my return, which I'm very grateful for. Yes, great to see me back on the score sheet. We know obviously coming back from an ACL, form can be a bit patchy as you try to get back up to speed again, but took those 2 goals very well.
Does feel like we're getting the Beth Mead pre-Euros back.
Absolutely.
It's not just that; it's going to help England as well. You look forward to those games against France at St James's Park and going over to. No, we're not going over to Sweden. We're going back to
Carrow Road, isn't it? Carrow Road.
No, it's Paris is the one after, I think.
Yeah.
So we've got back-to-back with games against France. That's going to be fun. Vic Plover picks up the ball and heads towards the Bristol City goal, finding Caitlin Ford with a through ball. Caitlin then looks to delay for her by Powell. No, sorry, got that one bit wrong. Let's try that again. Caitlin delays the ball, waiting for Steph Catley. Steph decides to cross the first time. The ball is deflected by Powell and goes past Bentley 3-0. This is one of those ones where it's just a bit unfortunate. Bentley's in the just doesn't know where she's coming. She's expecting the cross. She's going to come for it. Deflection, and there's nothing you can do about it.
This is the goal you concede if you're bottom of the league. I'm sorry. This is when your luck's down. This is what happened, sadly. And I was watching it and I couldn't believe it had gone in. And we know Steph Catley has scored. I think they're called Olympicos from corners, and I thought it was maybe something like that. But the nature of the deflection, it was pretty clear it was no goal. And I think even the stadium announcer was a bit confused over who'd actually scored. There was a bit of a delay on the tannoy until they revealed it. I felt so sorry for Bristol City because obviously they're fighting. As you say, they're fighting for their lives. They didn't deserve to concede in that manner. I think it came off Powell and Trent just looped freakishly into the net, and so soon after the Meade goal. So at that point, obviously, it's game over, and it's just that's when I was saying about sort of a party atmosphere. That was when we could sort of relax into the game, knowing that the moment the game was only going to go one way. But it was an awful goal for Bristol City to concede. Utmost sympathy with Powell and co, because they did everything right. They got the block in, trying to block the cross. Any other day that goes out for a corner or clears away, but no, it's a freak loop over the keeper's head. Nothing they could have done, and it's 3-0.
Yeah, exactly. Thankfully, that goal was in the North Bank, so I wasn't able to see it closely. But yeah, I did see the footage of the game, that goal back afterwards. Yeah, unfortunately, it was a deflection off Ella Powell's foot. Very, very bizarre. Yeah, I mean, at the time I saw live, I generally thought it was like a cross from an Arsenal player that wasn't meant to be a shot, but just ended up behind the net. But as we all found out, it was, like an own goal. So at least technically, Bristol City did score a goal.
Well, they scored on their last trip to Meadow Park, and they've done it again. Clearly, just sadly slightly wrong way.
I remember while we're still talking about the first half, I don't know if Matt was
no, that's fine. Still quite.
So I remember in our pod on Friday night that we recorded the preview for this game. I think I mentioned about how when I watched the Conti Cup game, it was the only women's football game I've seen where the visiting goalkeeper gets the your shit.
We were doing that. We were doing that all game, which was fantastic. Like 2 minutes in, and the oohs in the background were kicking off, and they were proper loud. I thought this is absolutely fantastic.
So me and the fans around us, or Bristol City fans, we were trying to do something similar for Sabrina D'Angelo.
Oh, brilliant!
She didn't do as many goals, or as many built. Her goal kicks didn't have a long build up. They were either quick goal kicks, or she just passed the ball to Lottie with Moy, who then kicked the ball out.
And there weren't that many either, because no offense, but the ball was hardly down that end of the pitch. So there wasn't much of an opportunity to do.
Actually, speaking of D'Angelo, I was going to ask, how come she was starting? Is there an injury to Zinsberg, or is it just rotation?
I've got some theories on this, actually. It's a very good point, because Manu Zinsberger did not start this game. Surprise, surprise. Sabrina D'Angelo was thrown into this one. There was a game a few seasons ago. We played Aston Villa at home. We won, I think it was 7-0 in the end. And I think Lydia Williams played in that game. And it was our last home game of the season. There was an away game at West Ham United to finish the season. And I got a similar vibe with this one, that maybe this was like a last outing for Sabs. I was wondering if he was, I'll give you the Bristol game. It's the last chance to play in front of the home crowd, because I think looking at the rest of the fixtures, Manu's going to play away at Manchester City. I think we can probably agree on that. She'll probably play at the Emirates Stadium against Leicester City, and last game of season against Brighton. I don't think he will. I think he'll think Manu, as she's a stronger keeper. I'm not aware of any injury issues. I think Manu was on the bench, wasn't she? I don't. Yeah. So unless it was like a tactical thing, like with Manchester United, but. Again, given the actual position, I don't think this was a game for trying to out-tactic Bristol City. This was a game where just play our game well and we'll win. You don't need to go down there. Well, we'll play Sabrina because of her distribution. She can get the ball out quickly. We can nick him on the counter, get over the high line. No, I think this was we can play Sabs in this game because she doesn't get many games. We should say this is Sab's first clean sheet in the WSL this season, and the first time this season with WSL she hasn't made it. Yeah, well, she's had 2 games against Manchester United and she's conceded in both of them and made goalkeeping errors in conceding goals. So this is the first time she had a clean game and a clean sheet, which was nice. And she did actually get worked as well, which we'll come to. But I don't think it was an injury, and I don't think it was tactical. I think it was we can play Sabs in this game, and she'll get a run out in front of the fans. We have theories about who may come and go in the summer, and obviously there's been rumours about Daphne Valdomsela. I think this might have been a farewell appearance for Sabs, but we'll wait and see.
Sorry, Shahan, go.
So is D'Angelo? So is Sabrina D'Angelo? Is she only like on a short-term deal, or is her contract up?
I think I don't know if the contract's up or not. It just the way that she's not played as much this season as she has last season, and the way that Manu has extended her contract, and there hasn't been any noise on Sabrina. I think the silence there maybe says a lot, but it's purely speculation at the moment. But that's where I think the wind is blowing at the moment.
Just for me, because Manu's also going, we don't know when her partner's due, so we don't know if it's a paternity thing at the moment or not. So it's just a case of making sure that minutes are spared, that making sure that everyone's nice and fresh as well. I know it's not a luxury that a lot of teams can afford, but it's just one of those where you need to give minutes where you can. And I think, to be honest, it was probably deserved because Manu's been in goal for quite a while now. I can't remember the last time Sabrina did play. I think it was the Aston Villa final.
Semi-final?
Was it quarter-final? No, no.
Quarter-final was London City Lionesses. No, I think it was the Manchester United game. I think it was the Manchester United game at Emirates Stadium. I'm pretty sure Manu played in goal she was in goal for the London City Lioness game. I think she was in goal all the way through. I think it was I'm working to prove otherwise. Check. Let us know in the comments. But I believe that was her first Arsenal game since the Emirates game when we won 3-1.
Going into that second half, 55 minutes, it's just really weird that they didn't show much of Bristol, but they showed this really lovely passage of play on 55 minutes. Fran Bentley plays out to Nafia, who decides to play a long ball onto the right-hand side, taking oh God, I can't even read my own writing. That's it's a long ball. Bristol City are coming down the right-hand side. Thestra tests Sabrina with a low effort. Thestra, yeah. It was a fantastic moment. It was lovely play, and you can see how Bristol like to play, and that was great to see. It's not many times that you see
Bristol City.
Bristol City. I know I'm going to get a whack.
No,
get the whacking. It's nice to see Bristol City actually go out and attack, and you're not seeing teams just come to Meadow Park and just sort of park the bus. You're actually seeing them play. And one of the things I did ask you on the preview was about I know it was a bit about the transfers and sort of how you said if that's how you're going to play in the Championship, I think you're going to have a really fantastic season. If you do go down, if you don't go down, it's going to be I'm sure you're going to be even more fantastic when it comes on. But just from there, what was your thoughts?
Well, about that attack and play, and it's like
just that attack, and is it just showing that potential?
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. So Bristol, I mean, I've seen enough Bristol City games to know that the team don't always, don't give up, or at least don't give up straight away. And yeah, it was a beautiful flow play, and obviously it's a shame nothing came to it. But yeah, it was a good link up. Obviously, you mentioned about James Napier there, and I think Emily Syme, who I think had a good game. She was involved as well. But yeah, it's Tasha had her chances. I know she's our top goal scorer of the season, but I mean, it's not going to be like a major spoiler alert. But unfortunately, it was another game where she wasn't able to get a goal.
Now I was watching that. Well, that was probably the scariest moment of the of the half for us. If I'm honest, I think it was just one with the Kayleigh tackle.
No, I don't have anything on Steph Kayleigh.
There's a burst that came through. It was on the axis all areas, but there was one that came through, and Steph Kayleigh puts in a blinder of a tackle, and then the ball breaks loose, and someone has a shot on it, and Sabs makes a really good save to tip the ball wide.
Actually, it might be this one.
Yeah, but and we've been quite critical of Steph Kayleigh this season. She's a very good left back, and I don't think some of the performances. I think back to the Chelsea game away at Stamford Bridge. I don't think she's performed maybe up to the maximum that we know that she can. This was a much better performance from her, and obviously gutted that obviously her goal was obviously given us an own goal. I thought her and Ford as well had probably one of their better games for Arsenal this season, and that sort of tackle from Kayleigh to prevent what could have been a very clean 1v1 again was very good and very good to see.
On the 59th minute, Kim Little plays Alessia Russo, plays the ball to Alessia Russo even. The defenders fail to close down the angle. She shoots on the penalty line with a curling shot, and it is saved by Fran Bentley, only to be pushed into the post and in. It's 4-0 at 59 minutes.
Yeah, this is a really good goal. I mean, Shahan, you had a really good view of it, but this was a really, really good strike from Alessia Russo. A lot of power, sort of the ability to reverse the shot because she's running away from the goal to change the trajectory, almost like a 90-degree sort of switch. Very good. But if I'm going to be brutally honest, I'm going to accuse the keeper of chocolate wrists here. I think she does. I know it's a powerful shot, but she does get two hands to it. I just think if her hands are stronger there, she can push that wide. And maybe the power beat her, but I would still maybe I'm being a bit too harsh. Maybe you can maybe want to disagree with me on that one. But I thought the keeper could have saved it.
No, yeah, I mean, I have seen like the footage back, and yes, I know what you mean by when Fran Bentley was trying to, it got to Bentley's hands, but yeah, it could have. I mean, I only saw it from slow-mo, so I don't really remember from full speed again. But I know Fran Bentley isn't the tallest of goalkeepers, but she does have like a good reach, and I know she won the Golden Glove in the Championship last season for the most saves. I know she. I think it's just. I mean, like I said, I don't know whether it was just a little bit too far away for Bentley to reach, or just too powerful for Russo. But yeah, it was a great goal.
I think she got overpowered. I think that was the thing. You can hear the ball hit the gloves and sail in. But I would say for Russo, I think what helps is probably the element of surprise as well, the way that she's able to get that shot off. And we should say a fantastic run to sort of dart into the box. And one of the things you said about Russo is that she hasn't been clinical enough. One could say she offers a lot. She was in the 10 this time around, which was great to see. The Stina 9 Russo 10 partnership, which we've been crying out for all season, finally in full flow, and it looked really, really positive on the day. And I was really, really happy to see Russo chip in with a great sort of run from deep, dart into the box, and a great way to finish off. At that point, you think, right, 4-0. This is we said, as I said, every other goal, it's only going to go one way, and you're thinking, like, how far are we going to push this? And I think it was only one more goal after that, wasn't it, Matt?
Yeah, the one issue that I always have whenever you see these sorts of games, I think I'm going after certain games, Kayleigh Ford against Tottenham, Beth Mead against Tottenham, where essentially you're given the run of the mill, and there's so much time that you from the defenders that they don't decide to go and attack, go and put themselves into a position where they can move and make sure that the angle isn't there. One of the worst things you can probably do is give a striker a decent amount of time to be able to go, right, okay, if none of you are going to close down, I'll shoot. And 9 times out of 10, it goes in the back of the net.
Do you think that's fatigue, though? I mean, what was the time on the clock at the time? Was it 60? Was it 70 at the time?
59 minutes.
So just come at 60 minutes. They've been given the runaround for the last hour or so. I think at that point, it just comes down to your concentration's fading. Psychologically as well, probably I know players don't give up, but they probably know that, again, based on how the rest of the season's going, they're not coming back on the Bristol City bus with anything likely. I just think at that point it is psychological, it is mental. You just don't work as hard to make those defensive blocks, those runs, those closing downs, and yeah, it was a great run from Russo, but there wasn't much resistance to stop her breaking into the box in that manner.
You guys mentioned about like the clock and like timing and so on. So that just reminded me of something. So the scoreboard at Meadow Park, it's in the corner between the east and the south stand. So I saw posts online after the game. Apparently, the scoreboard was not fully working for the start of the game or most of the game.
Oh, it hasn't been working all season. This was a revolutionary moment. The scoreboard was working. So most of the time we'd be gone to Meadow Park, the scoreboard's been off. So we've had no idea of how long the games. We don't know what the score is, but we don't know how much time there's left in the game. So it's always been a bit sort of murky. We only really find out when it's near the end of a game or an end of a half when the board goes up. So yeah, for most of the season I've been working, and the understanding is that the scoreboard, I think it only came in like 2021 or something. Just after lockdown it came in. Apparently it's on its last legs. So they're using it sparingly. So they tend to use it for the men's game, but not for the women's games, and for the Boreham Wood games, and maybe for the academy games. I don't know. So yeah, it was a bit of a shock to see it working, which was great. It was great to see.
I assume more effort was made to have it turned on because the game was live on Sky TV and around the world.
No, I think it was because they knew Bristol City was coming in, and we thought we better show our best for the Bristolians turning up. So yeah, Bristol City turning in, we're having that scoreboard turned on, absolutely.
So I had to mute myself because I didn't want the laughter drowning out what you were saying.
That's fine.
That scoreboard there's a few issues around that. Some people are saying one thing, and then some people are saying that essentially that score. What was the rumor that similar to the one that was it's dying out, but I think it was something about saving energy and things like that they were going about, which
we don't know. It's all speculation at the moment. Yeah.
We'll probably find out when the new season starts and whenever the first game at Meadow Park. Bristol City made some substitutions on the 69th minute, and Lisa Evans also came on in the 78th minute. 78th minute. Thank you. Did that change the? Was that like do you think that was like the reset that was kind of needed? Was there anything that you felt right? Okay, this helped share the load a little bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I saw like halftime, neither team made a sub, and myself and a few other Bristol City fans around me were wondering, okay, when's Lauren Smith going to make some changes? And then I saw a triple sub on the 69th minute. And then I saw who came off: Emily Syme, Sarah Strategakis, and Ella Powell. And then the three that came on was Jasmine Ball, Naomi Lazelle, and Rachel Furness. I think I mentioned in the preview pod, Rachel Furness and Naomi Lazelle have been out of injuries recently. And Lauren Smith said in the press conference, she said she was hoping that those two would make an appearance, and luckily they did. So it was great. Naomi Lazelle has been missing for a couple of games because of injury, and she missed the international camp, so she wasn't able to go up with the England under-23s. And Rachel Furness has been out for quite a few months. And I know she had that equaliser against yourselves at Ashton Gate back in October. But yeah, she's been such a key influence in the midfield, and her absence was really felt in the games that she missed. So yeah, I mean, the damage maybe would have been done because obviously it was 4-0 at that point. But yeah, it was great to see Fernie and Lazelle back for the team.
Is that something that helps you going forward, that you can go, oh, these players are coming back, and that sort of helps you feel a little bit better about yourself? That
definitely. Yeah, I mean,
player.
Naomi Lazelle has been really key in our back line, and her and Brooke Aspen, have had a great partnership. And again, in those in that part of the field. And yeah, Fernie is fantastic in midfield. Actually, fun fact about name of Hazel. Her family were actually near me, behind me, in the south stand. So I saw her parents, and I think it was like a grandfather, I think, or uncle, or other family members. But yeah, it was nice to see them, because I usually see them at quite a few home and away games, because I think they travel up from Gloucestershire, where the Laser family are from. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen players' parents at any games that you've been to. So it's a bit of a tangent.
Oh, I see. General, we saw. Sorry, my arm's just gone weird. Leah Williamson's mum, we often see. She actually walked past us on the in the East Stand. Those who know Leah Williamson's mother, she's very striking, especially her hair colour. Usually is quite a obvious giveaway, but yeah, she's always often at the games. We should actually mention, talking of like famous people, Jonas Ardebell was in the East Stand. He did spot him in his hiding place. His AirPods fitted. He was high up at the back. Had a great view of the game. People were saying maybe Jonas should be in the East Stand more often rather than in the dugout. Clearly, it was working for us. Saw Jodie Taylor as well. Frida Elton Morning was in the East Stand. She got a good round of applause at full time and a good chant in the 12th minute. But as the other parents, no, not so much. But I don't think many players' parents, apart from Leah Williamson's mother, because I think she even used to work at the turnstiles at Meadow Park back in the day. She's been she's very attached to Arsenal. The others, not so much. But I've no doubt they are obviously supporting the players back home.
Yeah, and also, yeah, you guys have got more international players, so it may be a bit harder for those families to come over. Although, one last thing I will say is the last away game I did for City Women before Arsenal was Man United away, and on the coach to Man United away, I saw two people with the surname Yanez, and they were actually the parents of our American goalkeeper Shea Yanez, who has flown all the way from America to see their daughter play for a couple of games. So I thought that was really cool of them to get the supporters coach, all the way from Bristol up to the Esports Village.
I was just thinking.
Back to the game. Sorry.
I was just thinking about that as well. I think my first game at Meadow Park was Aston Villa at the end of the season, and I think Lottie spoke to Sabrina's family actually in the end. They all had D'Angelo on the back of their shirts, so it's not uncommon for that to happen. But I do think that's another thing that I quite like, is that the family, you usually get to see the family together, and they're always there. I think I might have accidentally bumped into Lucy Brun's mum or aunt or something, because I asked her, because she had the We Play Strong patches that they had for that Euros. I was asking about that, and she said, "Oh, I was just giving the shirt." So I was like, "Oh, okay," and then just sort of walked off. Anyway, that's enough about Euros. The 73rd minute, Emily Fox plays a through ball in for Casey McKay, who then sees Alessia Russo once again. She's given a lot of room, first time shot, and finishes it 5-0, 73 minutes on the clock.
I love this goal, and I love this finish. It's what do they call it? A cultured finish. Just the way, first time, and just the whip on it to bend it around the dive of the keeper, and with quite a good bit of pace as well. This was the record-breaking assist, wasn't it, for McCabe to get above Karen Carney, wasn't it?
Yes.
So this was a delightful fifth goal. This was a Russo second. So of course there was along with the Meado chance, there was also the hat trick for hat trick for Russo, hat trick for Meado chance going around. No hat tricks a day, sadly, on the day. But yeah, there's a really good finish from Russo. I mentioned earlier with the previous goal, seeing her get into the box and be a finisher. Jonas just wants her to be in the 6-yard box, in the penalty box, finishing those chances. And it did help, as you say, Matt. She had a lot of space to work with. The defensive shape was shot to pieces. I think they actually was trying to play it out, and they pretty much just passed it to an Arsenal player, because Arsenal had them hemmed in, and they just kept working it. And a really nice swept finish from Russo. Another goal to her name. As the season draws to an end, maybe we're starting to see her getting more and more settled in the team. It's been a struggle at times of her getting used to a new team, new players, new position. But seeing her play as a 10 and make those runs into the box to sweep home shots like that. I think Jonas. There was a line that Arteta used about Kai Havertz on the men's side about how sometimes it's not so much you find a position for the player. Sometimes the player finds that position. And with Kai Havertz, there was an argument he was brought in as a left-sided midfielder in the centre, but then it's sort of become this sort of false nine sort of striker, and maybe he's getting his better form that way. And I think with Russo, I think Jonas needs to see that maybe Russo isn't the lead number 9 striker he wants. Maybe she's actually the 10 that he needs behind someone like Stina. Of course, this is just one game. I'll need to see it stress tested against future games against, like, say, Leicester City, Everton, Manchester City, and Brighton. But what we were seeing from Russo in this game I thought was rather good, and I think we should push this more, because we tried Russo and Miedemar. I'm not convinced by that, and then obviously Miedemar went injured, and we may not see it the rest of the season. I think this has greater potential, but yeah, we'll need a few more games to really see how this could work. John, did you have a good view of the goal from where you were?
I was just going to ask about the defending.
I had a good view of that goal, and when I saw it was 5-0. Actually, one thing I will say from the game was obviously the score 5-0. So I didn't know this at the time because I didn't see the Sky footage, obviously, until afterwards. But that Sunday was Fran Bentley's 50th appearance for Bristol City.
Oh, bravo!
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, Fran.
She would have reached that milestone a bit earlier, but she's been injured for most of the season, so that's why we've had the goalkeeping circus that we've had for most of the season with Kayleigh Marquis on loan, and then Liv Clark and Shea Yanez and Benedict Harlan all featuring in goal at some point. Another thing I was going to say was as Beth Mead was getting subbed off earlier in the second half, I don't know if you guys had saw this post on social media, but I uploaded the photo. I thought it was so good I had to post the photo on its own on my Twitter, as well as my personal Facebook, and I think it's within my Instagram posts. But it was just so funny. It's just so Beth Mead was walking. Obviously, there's no walk around the pitch. Yeah. Or the near side, and then walk around the pitch and to get back to the dugout. And there was a corner that was taking place, and she just leaned back.
I've seen the picture here. She's casually just leaning back on the board, on the advertising boarding.
And where she was literally almost in front of me, and then there was the Sky cameraman to her left, and then the goal post to her right. And I had to take a photo because I thought I'm probably never going to see Beth Mead so casual.
That is Beth Mead to see in that's very, very casual, but that is her sort of character. She's actually brought on, I should say, with Arsenal subs. It was Lacasse and McKay brought on for Mead and Ford. Jonas has spoken many times about the ideas of starters and finishers. I think it's something that comes up a lot in rugby as well. And he's wanted for all season to be able to take his forwards off and bring fresh forwards on. And because Lena Hurley's been out all season, he's always been a winger short. I thought it was really great to see, really interesting and great to see that Ford and Mead were able to come off and we were able to keep the wing attacks fresh. And although McKay, I think, was operating as an inverted right winger. But then, of course, they for me, though, Matt, they weren't the most important subs of the day.
This is because there was two debuts. Well, you could probably say that. You've got the debut of Katie
felt
Reid.
Like a debut, didn't it?
And to be honest, this is a girl that is 17 years old. She's Arsenal Academy graduate, and I've been banging the drum on her since I've been watching her play in the under-17s for the Lionesses. She has gone over to Watford. She has done as well as she can. Obviously, had to be recalled because of the centre-back shortage. And she was... I don't want to keep banging this drum because a lot of other people were sort of banging this drum as well. She had a really good debut I know it was only a couple of minutes. I think it was about 12 minutes or so, but it was always good to get those first couple of minutes. Is there any other players that I'm just thinking out loud here? Is there any other players that you can think of that have had like an academy graduate that have just felt like they've gelled straight into a team?
Vivian Lear looked good when she came on against LCL in the Conti Cup. We got to see her play, and she had no fear in the way she was playing. Not saying the stuff she was doing came off or not, but she had the confidence that you need at this level. Michelle Adjumang has looked great for Arsenal when she came on in last season when she was playing, and obviously scored against us in the FA Cup, annoyingly. Yeah, great to see Reed getting some run out. I should say there was another bit at the end when she was pushed in front of the North Bank to take in the applause. And I thought it was so impressive that the North Bank were already ready with a chant. It was a very simple chant. It was a very basic chant, but it worked. It was loved that she was getting plenty of love from the fans, and she came on for Williamson, which I thought was another nice touch as well. And there was you could tell that it meant a lot. I should also have a shout out for Dean Reuter as well, coming off the bench as well. That's the other big sub. That was the next one.
Well, I was going to bring that up in a minute.
We've gone up, backwards and forwards and such, but that was the other emotional sub of the day. And again, there was a lot of Bon Jovi being sung in the crowd. So we say those never chant. So that was the sort of the icing on the cake. Those last 10 minutes where it wasn't about goals and it wasn't about assists and all that sort of stuff. It was about bringing players in either who we've missed or players who we're looking forward to seeing more of, and that was for me the better than any of the goals scored on the day.
You guys mentioned about obviously academy players and subs and so on. I was just going to reference again the final sub that Bristol City made in the 78th minute when Lisa Evans, again as Adam said earlier, forgot that she was on the pitch. Came off for Mary Ward, who's joined the academy at Bristol City a couple of years ago, and then signed her first professional deal when she turned 18 recently. And she's been having a fantastic season, especially in the WSL. He's usually a good impact sub, and obviously gets a lot of England call-ups in her age group. But of course, at that point, as I said, like the games are pretty much done and dusted. So it was nice to see Mary Ward get some more game time, and I'm guessing she might, if Lawrence, she might probably feature a bit more in our game against Liverpool on Saturday. Well, I'm not going to be there, but I'll have to. Yeah, we'll only see. Matt, do you want to talk about another sub that Arsenal made?
Laura Wienerreuter, Laura Wienerreuter. The 348 days since her injury in the Wolfsburg game, and I think the whole of it just felt, as Adam has mentioned, the whole atmosphere around that singing her chant, it just felt almost like we're back to normal again. There wasn't any ACL injuries, although Terry Goldie's on the way back at the moment.
And
Kayleigh as well. But it just felt like it was in some way this game felt very end of the season. You had one team that just wanted everyone to be back to 100%. You had I'm trying to be as nice as possible. You had a team trying to fight their way and play their way. And it was a fantastic game of football, and the fact that we saw players coming on, players coming back, and it felt like a really good game to go to, and it was a very good atmosphere. And for a game like that, I think Laura really appreciated to be at Meadow Park, because had it been at the Emirates like a few others have this season, I think she would appreciate it, but I think it would have probably made her a little bit more nervous going into that game. Sorry,
Matt.
No.
I was gonna say, from the view from being in the South Stand, that rupture, that noise when it was announced Wienerreuter was going to come on as a sub. The North Bank was loud, but when that moment happened, I was like, excuse my language, but it was like, fuck me, this is loud. I mean, this is the fan base was so passionate. They were so happy to see her. I mean, I literally did not realize how long has she been out injured with her ACL. So
Yeah.
I think the last time I heard a similar noise in a similar level was in the reverse fixture between Arsenal and Bristol City when Vivian Miedema came on the stoppage time.
Yeah.
A lot of noise at Ashton Gate, but I don't know if that was most of the Arsenal fans or just the football fans in general in attendance because they were happy to see Miedema back.
But I would say out of the 4 ACLs, and this is not a knock on Lara Wienreuther, but she was probably the lower profile compared to Lioness captain, WSL top scorer and player of the tournament and Euro top scorer, and then there was Lara Wienreuther. But she's been no less loved by the Arsenal fan base, and she's such a wonderful character. We saw it in the documentary, the way that obviously Miedema looked after her in their flats as she was recovering from it, and it was just it just came out of nowhere when it happened, and it feels like the end of that chapter, if that makes sense. Sort of that's it. Her journey's not quite over yet. There's a few more steps to take, which is obviously only a few 10 minutes at the end, but it bodes well for the future.
And just on that as well, it was like 20 I think I said it was 26 seconds between Jem Beattie scoring and then Laura actually having that ACL injury. So it was so weird to see that happen in a short space of time.
Yeah.
But anyway, the player of the match for this game was Kim Little, and 99.7% pass completion rate. That's an insane stat. I know Kim Little's very underrated by a lot of people, and I always go back to my game against Aston Villa at Villa Park, and the way you see her play is just one of those, you need to see her play live. You can't see her on the TV because you don't see the full picture. And I think there was probably a shout out for a few other players of the match. Victoria Pelova had a good game, obviously. Leslie Russo scoring 2 goals, Beth Mead scoring 2 goals. It was one of those sort of games where anyone could have been given the player of the match. But was there any standout players on either side that had a good game for either of you?
I mean, for me, I think Steph Catley deserves a shout out. I thought she offered a lot more on the left than maybe she had in previous games. I should say on the Kim Little one, was it 99.7? What was the one pass she messed up? Who was responsible for ruining her 100% record? I want to have words with them. Her best moment of the game, Kim Little, falling over on the edge of the Bristol box and still retaining the possession and getting up again and continuing the move. It's, as the commentator said, that is typical Kim Little.
Shahan, is there any player that surprised you?
No, well, mainly Kim Little. Yeah, Kim Little. But in terms of a Bristol City player, I wouldn't say there was one necessarily that stood out more than others, but at the same time, I wouldn't say there was any bad performances either. I think I mentioned it about like the Sky Sports footage again. Watching it back after the game, I didn't even realize that Kim Little was named by Sue Smith as her player of the match. Actually, I'm trying to think. Is she now Arsenal's longest 7 player? Or did she leave the club briefly and then come back?
She went on loan to Olympic Lorraine in the summer. But it was a loan.
She went to Australia, I think, at one point. There was a point where she did actually drop out for quite a few years at Arsenal and then came back in about 2018, I think, maybe earlier. There was a period of time when she actually did leave the club altogether. I think she may have gone to the States or gone to Australia or both. So she's in a second spell, if you will.
I think though that she is between her and Leah Williamson as to who's got the more appearances so far.
Yeah, I just keep thinking Kim Little's been there longest because obviously she's older. But yeah, as you said, Kim briefly.
First season, she was there in the first season of WSL, and before the first season of the WSL, she was at Arsenal. She is probably, I would say, out of all the players still at the club, she has been there the earliest, if that makes sense, but not all the way through.
Mm-hmm. Actually, the one thing I was going to mention about the game, which wasn't mentioned in the preview pod. So, in the Conti Cup game, Bristol City wore their yellow and green third kit, and I had a feeling something similar was going to happen for Sunday, but the decision was made by the kit personnel, the kit people, that Bristol City ended up wearing their all black away kit.
Yeah. Well, don't talk to us about away kits. Just that's a really, really sore topic. I mean, just thank goodness you got your socks correct for the day. We don't. We've had enough of away kit shenanigans.
Yes. I mean, there's a friend of mine. She packed her yellow third kit, thinking that the team were going to wear that for the game on Sunday. And then when we saw on Sunday that the team would be playing in black, she was like, "Oh, I've left my away shirt back home." So yeah, I mean, I personally prefer the away kit to the yellow kit. But another thing was I noticed from between the Conti Cup game and the game on Sunday was the goal scorer from the Conti Cup game, Silla Struck, was named as the sub and did not play at all on Sunday.
Mistake. She should have come on. Would have no doubt have saved the game.
So what I still remember, sorry, I know we talked about songs and chants earlier. That I got made. There were some chants or songs which I think surprised myself at least myself and a few other Bristol City supporters. I think there was I don't know how it starts, but it kind of ends up going ole ole ole, and people just waving the scarves.
So this is a chant that the men's team have a similar chant, and they've made the North Bank made a women's version where we sing about. I think we won 14 FA Cups, a low league titles, a load of FA Cups, and Champions of Europe, the only in the land. And then I and many others will bellow as loud as they can, not even Chelsea, and long may that continue. And then we'll talk about how we sing it in the North Bank and the East Stand, and it's become a sort of a staple chant that we will sing on the fan marches towards Emirates Stadium and in the ground as well. And it's a great one because you can build up to it, and then everyone gets their scarves in the air. And we should have a shout out for the North Bank for the wall bashing. There's a lot, some fan base have drum kits, but we will bash the wall to get the drum beat going, and I think that really does help with some of the chants, especially the ole 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 chant. But yeah, I'm glad you got a chance to appreciate our songbook because it has grown considerably over the last 2 years. There's been a lot of creativity in there. The Lacasse chant, I hope you managed to catch, is a particular favourite, and we did thankfully get to hear that when she came on the pitch as well.
Is that the one that's to the tune of the Adams Family?
No, it's the one to Voulez-Vous. It's the 24.
Oh yeah, I heard the Voulez-Vous. That's the only bit I recognised, but I was trying to clock the rest, and I was trying to think. Because obviously, I just think of Voulez-Vous and then ABBA and then Sweden and
because we've got a Swedish manager, we've tried to incorporate a bit of ABBA into our songbook.
Okay.
Because they're all stonking songs. So that was the 24 Lacasse song. That's why I think they played that. I think they even played it. I think at half time. I think they might have done. They might or before the game, but that definitely they did play a bit of Voulez-Vous, and the crowd that's become a crowd favourite.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I mentioned that just about obviously Stina Jackson is thinking there was a chant for. I think I heard some chants, like "We want you to stay."
Yeah, so her contract's up at the end of the season, and there's a strong love for Stina in the crowd. So there was contract for Stina. Stina, we want you to stay, and we do hope she stays. Mm-hmm. We do hope she stays. I should just add, this bit of breaking news has just dropped in. We can confirm 40,000 tickets have now been sold for the game at Emirates Stadium against Leicester City. So massive thank you to all the Arsenal fans who have bought tickets. Obviously 20,000 to go. So if you haven't got a ticket, please do get one. That'll be this Sunday. I think it's a 2:00 kickoff. So if you haven't, do get a ticket. That's just come through on my feed that we've sold 40,000 tickets, which quite frankly is incredible for Leicester City.
So just quickly before we move on, I forgot to mention this in the news. That's my own fault. I do apologise to Lottie because she's going to go, oh God's sake. No, that's not her having a go. It's just me being silly. Kayleigh McDonald, the Stoke City player, she is raising money for her to get the surgery that she needs from her ACL. I've added the link into this episode so that she can raise the money. Essentially, it's £20,000 for a knee surgery, and that's waiting from the NHS or going privately. If you're waiting for the NHS, there's a huge waiting list. So she's decided to go privately. Just raising a little bit of money there, but it's just one of those things that makes you think, if you're not a professional footballer, this guy has a huge impact on not only your life, it's also your own work and things like that. And it's just, if you can help, that's very grateful. And while I also remember the walk in her name total came in quite recently. 20 of the Arsenal women's supporters group altogether walked 2,842.22 kilometres to raise money for ovarian cancer. That came to a total of £11,510 total so far. Over the total years that they've raised, that it brings it to a total of £23,302, and that all goes to a great cause of
and you can still donate even now, can't you? You can
yes.
still put money on it. So if you do want to put the money on it, do please donate to it. And if you can give to allow towards this knee surgery, get this back on her feet, back playing football, doing the sports she loves. It would be very, very much appreciated.
So that is all for. Actually, no. Before I forget again, Shahan, how do you think the season will go for you now?
I mean, I think Bristol City fans were realistic, not expect to like a big result at Arsenal away. Yeah, we got a huge home game coming this Saturday against Liverpool. I'm unfortunately not going to be able to be there because I think I said that in the preview pod, the game got moved to the Saturday because the rugby team, Bristol Bears, need Ashton Gate for the Sunday because their game has been selected for TNT Sports coverage or whatever. So, and because the game's been moved to the Saturday, I won't be there because it's on the same day that the men are away at Norwich City, and Norwich away isn't. Again, we're talking about ground hopping earlier in the pod. That for me, that's Carrow Road's another ground I've always wanted to visit. So I'm gonna have to follow the game against Liverpool. We've already played them twice this season. We drew 1-1 up at Prenton Park in December, and then Liverpool came to town in January, narrowly beat us 1-0 in the FA Cup. So it'll be interesting to see, what type of squad Matt Bear brings down to Ashton Gate, because I know Liverpool, they've had a pretty good season. I think they're just like a few points behind Man United. And again, if Rachel Furness starts, it'll be her first start, since the injury, and of course facing her former club, who she won the championship with. Well, one of two teams she won the championship with, of course, the other being Bristol City. So yeah, I think realistically we could get some points from that game, but it depends what type of team turn up on the day. And then, of course, we have Man City away, not at home the week later, live on Sky, and then Chelsea away the week after that, also live on Sky, and then back at home with Everton. So, yeah, I think time is running out. But obviously, we just got to see, what teams around us in the table, what results they get. I mean, I think, Bristol City have now caught up with and Arsenal as well. What now caught up with their games? I know there's Chelsea versus Villa tomorrow night. So I think by then every team will. I think has pretty much caught up in terms of fixtures. So I think I'm just looking at the table now. There's still a 7-point gap between us and West Ham, although Bristol City's goal difference is now minus 33 compared to West Ham's doing minus 18.
I think it's really important that, let's say, assuming you do go down, I think it's really important that you at least get to the season and have a winner at Ashton Gate. That's not something you've managed to get this season. Hopefully it's against Liverpool. No offense to Liverpool fans, but hopefully you have a moment to enjoy with your home fans who are stuck with you for the whole season, and the players as well. They deserve something positive. Send out, send them some go down with. Something to remember by. So, absolutely best of luck against Liverpool. It would be a shame if the win that does happen is the game that you're not there for. But best of luck to Bristol.
It was me all along. That's why they haven't been winning.
Yeah. But hope that Bristol City do get 3 points at Ashton Gate. If not against Liverpool, then against another team between now and the end of the season.
Thank you very much, Adam. Actually, before we go, I just want to give some final thoughts on Meadow Park as a first-time visitor.
I'll go on. Did you two know?
So because I mainly had food on the journey up and also on the journey back, I didn't really get anything like food or drink wise personally. I did see that there was a burger van somewhere in the south stand or on the corner bit of the south and east stand. I think friends of mine got food from there. I believe they said the food was fine. I know for a fact one of my friends during the half time, she was in the queue for the women's toilets that are located between the south and west stand. I think as the second half was about to kick off, she just made it to the front of the queue because apparently there aren't many women's toilets, or at least not on that side of the ground.
The toilets aren't great at Meadow Park, and it is well known. The queues are lengthy, and I think maybe that's something as a club we can do better. But at the same time, it's like a stadium, so it's kind of like we are, there are limits what we can do. So we can apologise for the length of time your friend had to do what needs to be done.
And I did notice, like, I think another thing that kept happening during the game was ball, especially heading towards the south stand, a shot off target and it goes over like the actual terrace.
Yeah.
Again, because it's so all open plan, like I think there were ball boys or ball girls, but obviously I didn't really. I think there must have been somewhere else pitch side. But I thought that was very interesting. Meadow Park again because it's so open plan. At least the weather was nice because imagine if it was chucking it down with rain and the south stand was uncovered.
You give me a good segue because we're going to wrap up a bit. I should say if you're following the Arsenal Women Archive, quite a few clips have been coming up from the early years of Meadow Park when there was no North Bank. There were no, there was only one main sort of seating area and it was all exposed. And it was very much like that, balls straight out into the car park, into the streets, and no shelter for the rain. Meadow Park's grown a lot in the last, I'd say, over 10, 15 years or so. And I think there's still further plans for it to grow. You've seen you come at a good time to see Meadow Park. And I'm glad that you enjoyed our hospitality.
Very much, Adam. And I think I've got to say, of all the WSL away grounds I've done, because I've said to myself I wanted to do every WSL away game, and I think that our last away game is at Kings Meadow against Chelsea. So when I do that, that would have been every single WSL, main WSL away ground. I think of all the away grounds I've done, or the WSL away days I've done, I think in terms of like the best noise or the best atmosphere. I think the noise made in Meadow Park. I don't think I have anything. The closest I've seen to that at every WSL ground I've visited. I think the only team or fans I've seen come close was Everton, because they're fans of Walton Park. They're very loud. They're very passionate. Yeah. And they've got their own songbook as well, and they've got a lot of ABBA-based songs. Because they have quite a few Scandinavian players, and then of course their managers. Yeah. Danish, I think it's me.
Yes.
But yeah.
So that is all from us on Vic Akers Wonderland. Just quickly, where can people find you on your socials? I'll go to Shahan first.
Cool. As if people do want to follow me, they can. My personal accounts are at Shahan on Twitter /X and Shahan on Instagram, and I also run a fan page called the Other BCWFC, which is Bristol City Women fan content, and people can find that at the Other BCWFC on Twitter and Instagram.
You can follow me in a few places. You can follow me at Adam Salter 4, where I post where I write nonsense about the Arsenal women and many other things besides. And occasionally when I do writing supporting her, you can find my written content on there as well. At the same time, if you want to see some Arsenal clips from yesteryear, see some Arsenal legends that you see on TV now, see them in their prime, back when they were playing for the red and white of Arsenal, check out the Arsenal Women Archive, where there will be clips from old WSL clips, old Champions League, Ponty Cup, FA Cup clips of the Arsenal playing, and you can find that at the AW Archive. We've just crossed 200 followers. We just crossed 200 follow mark. Plenty more are jumping on, and would love it if we could welcome you on board as well. Plenty more clips to come during the off season, so do keep an eye out for that.
You can find me at MattLR28. You can also follow Lottie at AWFC_Lottie. Might be the other way around. I think it's Lottie _AWFC. You can also follow the pod at VAW Pods. We are also on YouTube, so don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And if you do like anything or you want to make a few comments, please don't be afraid. We do love hearing them. A couple of weeks ago, we got a lovely one about the Swedish manager being hard of hearing, and that's why he does sign, because we were talking about the British Sign Language over the internationals. And we are also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Please give us a share. Don't forget to tell friends. Hope you enjoy your week. That is all from us tonight. And wherever you are, hope that you have a wonderful week. That's all from us. Goodbye.